Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Since you all loved top 5 Aboriginal mysteries so much, I've decided to bring it back for a part 2. So here are top 5 Aboriginal mysteries. But before I get into the video, I would, as always, like to acknowledge the first Australians as the traditional custodians of the continent, whose cultures are among the oldest living in human history. I pay respect to the elders, past, present, and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across the nation. A better understanding and respect of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures develops an enriched appreciation of Australia's cultural heritage. I would also like to make my usual disclaimer that I mean no disrespect to anyone talked about in this video. This video is intended for entertainment and educational purposes, and information gathered has come from online resources which I have put together for your convenience. Number 5. Yaramayahu. The Yaramayahu is a creature described in Aboriginal folklore as something that resembles a red frog and stands about 4 feet tall. Its small stature looks odd compared to its giant head and extremely large mouth. They live mostly in thick leafy trees and prefer the wild fig tree. Instead of hunting for food, it is described as waiting for an unsuspecting traveller to rest under the tree. The creature then drops down and uses its suckers to drain the victim's blood. After that, it swallows the person, drinks a lot of water, and then takes a nap. When the Yaramayahu awakens, it regurgitates the victim, leaving them shorter than before. The victim's skin also has a reddish tint to it that it didn't have before. It repeats this process several times. At length, the victim is transformed into a Yaramayahu themselves. According to legend, the Yaramayahu is only active during the day and only targets living prey. Playing dead until sunset is offered as a ploy to avoid attack. Stories of this creature were reportedly told to misbehaving children, so they would not put themselves in harm's way of the dangers of the Australian outback. Number 4. Star Dreaming Seven Sisters. The star dreaming story of the Seven Sisters is one of the most widely distributed ancient stories amongst Aboriginal Australia. The songline for this story covers more than half the width of the continent, from deep in the central desert out to the west coast. The songline travels through many different language groups, and different sections of the narrative are recognised in different parts of the country. The story relates to the journey of the Seven Sisters that make up the star cluster known as the Pleiades in the constellation Taurus. Mythological stories of the Pleiades also across many other cultures outside Australia. The story also appears in ancient Greek mythology. Observed from Central Australia, the Pleiades star group rises above the horizon soon after sunset and keeps a low trajectory above the horizon. Perhaps for this reason, this relatively small star cluster takes on extra importance, as it appears to launch from the Earth's surface and make its journey in close proximity to the land. In the Seven Sisters story in Aboriginal Australia, the group of stars are Napulgari sisters from one skin group. In the Walpiri story of this Jukurpa, the sisters are often represented carrying the Jampi Jipna man, Waradilka, who is in love with the women. Then the morning star, Jukura, who is a Jakamara man, and who is also in love with the Seven Sisters, is shown chasing them across the night sky. They are seen to be running away, fleeing from the man who wants to take one of the sisters for his wife. However, under traditional law, the man pursuing the sisters is the wrong skin group and is forbidden to take a Napulgari wife. So the Seven Sisters are running away from the Jampi Jibna man. They travel across the land, and then from a steep hill, they launch themselves into the sky in an attempt to escape. But the Jakamara man follows the sisters into the sky, travelling in the form of a star seen in the Orion's Belt star cluster, which is also seen at the base of the Big Dipper. So every night the Seven Sisters launch themselves from the earth into the night sky, and every night the Jampi Jipna man follows after them across the sky. The traditional custodians in Central Australia for this story, called the Napulgari Wonu Jukurpa, are the skin groups of Napulgari and Nungayari women, and skin groups of Japulgari and Jungarari men. There are some parts of the Napulgari Wonu Jukurpa that are deeply connected to sacred men's ceremonies. In Aboriginal Australia, the stories associated with the stars and night skies carry meanings which probe deep into the lore and culture and social structures of the people. As the artists represent these subjects, they are also maintaining the stories and the keeping and the meanings strong within the group. Number 3. Lake Mungo. Lake Mungo is a dried-up lake and archaeological site in west central New South Wales, Australia, located in and around Mungo National Park. Lake Mungo is one of 17 dried Pleistocene epoch lake beds in the Willandra Lakes region, which was designated a World Heritage Site in 1981. Lake Mungo, which dried up about 14,000 years ago, became one of the world's most important archaeological sites when geologist Jim Bowler unearthed the remains of a young Aboriginal woman in 1968. The bones of the skeleton, referred to as Mungo Lady, had been burnt before burial, making them the world's oldest evidence of cremation and ceremonial burial. In 1974, Bowler discovered the complete skeleton of a man, known as Mungo Man. Carbon-14 dating indicated that these remains were approximately 40,000 years old, meaning that Mungo Lady and Mungo Man were the oldest human remains found in Australia to that date. Other human remains, as well as hundreds of artifacts, have been found in the lunettes of Lake Mungo and the Willandra Lakes region. These fossils provide a long, continuous record of how the Aboriginal people lived around the Willandra Lakes and how they adapted to the environmental changes that took place around them. Among the numerous valuable sources of evidence are middens, which are food waste, including shellfish, fish, yabbies, and mammals, fireplace stone tools, and other objects that predate the Ice Age. Another important archaeological find occurred in 2003 when 20,000-year-old footprints of the Willandra people were uncovered. The Lake Mungo site is not only of great archaeological significance, but it also provides important spiritual and cultural links for its traditional owners, the Parkanji, Jayampa, and Muthi Muthi people, to their ancestors. Number 2. Uluru. Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, is a large sandstone formation in the southern part of the Northern Territory in Australia. It lies 335 kilometres or 208 miles southwest of the nearest large town, Alice Springs. Uluru is sacred to the Pitjantjatjara, the Aboriginal people of the area, known as the Anangu. The area around the formation is home to an abundance of springs, waterholes, rock caves, and ancient paintings. Uluru is listed as a World Heritage Site. Uluru and Kaida Yuda, also known as the Olgas, are the two major features of the Uluru-Kaida Yuda National Park. Uluru is one of Australia's most recognisable natural landmarks and has been a popular destination for tourists since the late 1930s. It is also one of the most important Indigenous sites in Australia. The sandstone formation stands 348 metres or 1,142 feet high, raising 863 metres or 2,831 feet above sea level, with most of its bulk lying underground. It has a total perimeter of 9.4 kilometres or 5.8 miles. Both Uluru and the nearby Kaida Yuda Formation have great cultural significance for the local Anangu people, the traditional inhabitants of the area, who lead walking tours to inform visitors about the bush, food, local flora and fauna, and the Aboriginal dreamtime stories of the area. Uluru is also very notable for appearing to change colour at different times of the day and year, most notably when it glows red at dawn and sunset. According to the Aboriginal legends, Uluru is at a crossroads between all of the sacred paths, known as Ivara, that run through Central Australia, the paths that hold the memories of the demigods and divine beings that experience journeys and adventures. For the Aboriginal people of Australia, Dreamtime represents the essence of their society, culture, traditions, and spirituality. It is a time when ancestors, gods, and living mortals come together to learn about the heritage and customs of the Aboriginal people. Dreamtime is the core of everything, and of the many sacred sites in Australia. Few are as important as Uluru. Uluru is believed to have been created at the beginning of time by 10 ancestors or spirit people of the Aboriginal people. Tours of Uluru emphasise this connection with the beginnings of the local Anangu Aboriginal people, while also highlighting the natural power of the sandstone monolith. According to Uluru Dreamtime, the world was a featureless place until the ancestors of the Anangu emerged and travelled across the land, creating features like Uluru that we see today. It represents the physical evidence of their time on Earth and is seen as one of their most dramatic and inspiring creations. Uluru tours incorporate the amazing rock paintings of the Anangu, which are seen as a record of the period of the Dreamtime. The rock's caves, cliffs, and fissures contain countless petroglyphs that tell the story of the ancestors. Certain rock outcroppings represent ancestral spirits, and the Anangu believe that by simply touching the rocks, they can communicate with the Dreamtime and receive blessings from their ancestors. Uluru remains sacred to a number of Aboriginal tribes in the region, who still perform rituals in the caves and make new rock paintings. It's worth signing up for a quality tour at Uluru that can show you some of the more unique and special paintings. Each side of Uluru has a different creation story associated with it, and with an experienced local guide, you can hear all the incredible, colourful tales that form the basis of Aboriginal culture in this important part of Australia. Number 1. Featherfoot. A Featherfoot, or Kudacha, is a sorcerer in Australian Aboriginal spirituality. A Featherfoot is usually a bad spirit who kills people. In most traditional Aboriginal beliefs, there is no such thing as a natural death. Every death is caused by evil spirits or spells. It is usually because of an enemy who wants revenge for something. A Featherfoot is so named because they are believed to have supernatural powers, including the ability to fly and move interdimensionally when threatened as means of escape. He wears special shoes made of feathers, usually emu, and hair stuck together with human blood. Scholars say that the shoes leave no footprints. Southwest of Western Australia, which includes the Noongar people, have a local story to tell at night. When the Featherfoot is hunting you, it waits till you're alone or in a small group at night, walking to a destination. The person or the group will start to get a sense of foreboding, followed by a strong sense that they are being followed. The Featherfoot is close behind, following. Its steps are silent and leave no tracks. The only way to survive a Featherfoot attack is to never look behind you until you get back to a light source. Keep walking and don't look back. It's when the person looks behind them is when it attacks. Often the reason the spirit will follow and attack someone is because they have committed a crime or something as heinous or evil. All that is left behind after an attack is a single large unknown bird feather and a small amount of the victim's blood. One has been witnessed to live in Western Australia, Albany-Narrikup region, where many animal remains are also found near its lair in bushland. It's threatened by dogs. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know when I upload my next video. And as always, until next time.